And of course, that's Coach Benny McCarthy talking after the friendly win against Chad. And now still staying with the Harambee Stars. 6 months after taking charge of a federation long plagued by controversy and mistrust, Football Kenya Federation President Hussein Mohamed faces his first big report card. Elected in December 2024 on a platform of change and integrity, his victory over former President Nick Mwendwa, who had swapped tickets with the then Deputy Doris Petra, was hailed as a watershed for Kenyan football. So, 180 days later, what has actually changed? Steve Chitera has the details in this story.
It is very clear, as much as the runners-up has stepped down, we'll still go to a vote because the threshold of 50 plus 1.
December 2024 marked a turning point for Kenyan football. Riding a wave of reformist energy, development stalwart Hussein Mohamed defeated the Doris Petra Nick Mwendwa ticket, ending an era scarred by financial woes and eroded public trust. Stakeholders, clubs, fans and sponsors expected swift repair of broken lines.
I'll give you also, President, the opportunity.
And a fresh path to progress. Mohamed promised exactly that.
Tunaomba ile issue tulioiraise kuwe na NSL 2 na Division 2 iputiliwe mbali, ili at least expenses za teams ziwe zimeshuka, tuwe tuko katika hadhi ambayo tunaweza jisaidia.
Team has spent 100 million inashinda $5 million. Na about integrity, tunataka FKF kuwe na integrity. Number 2, tunataka national team coach Ben McCarthy achukue players from every part of Kenya.
His first headline decision, hiring decorated former Bafana striker Benny McCarthy as Harambee Stars head coach, replacing TAC engine Firat, who departed after Kenya failed to reach the 2025 AFCON finals in Morocco.
Rome wasn't built in one day. You're not going to just come in there and then I make magic, then you have a castle. No, I'm not going to have just a magic wand and then I have the perfect squad. I have to get to know these players. I have to see their qualities. I have to see what they are capable of at international level, because they're not playing for Leopards or Tusker or Gor Mahia. They're playing now for Kenya, the national team, and it's different kettle of fish when you come here. So yeah, we're trying to build. So I want to see the levels of the players, and I want to see which are the players that I'm going to move forward with when we come to Chan. And that's what it is.
Up. Super up. While the men's team rebuild, the Harambee Starlets have hit headwinds. In the current Sekafa Championship, they are without key players, who includes Tanzania's top scorer Gentrix Shikangwa, Elizabeth Wamboi, Corazon Aquino, Janet Mora Bundi, and Mwanahalima Adam Jereko. Reports swirled that head coach Beldin Odemba briefly resigned before reversing course amid alleged internal pressure, claims the federation has not addressed publicly.
Football Kenya Federation.
And as Hussein Mohamed deals with housekeeping issues, the calendar is unforgiving. Kenya are Chan 2025 co-hosts this August, with CAF monitoring preparations with a hawk eye amid a dash to beat the deadline. And Mohamed is acutely aware that failure on this front will be a stain on his CV. Missing AFCON 2025 in Morocco has sharpened focus on building a credible squad for the joint East African AFCON in 2027. Another litmus test for his leadership and the sports ministry at large.
Msiwe mnakaa pale maofisini, jamani, njooni hapa tuone mpira. Kama leo tumekuwa na mpira msafi kabisa. Shabana cheza na Kenya Police, tumepigwa kama Shabana, lakini the game was a very good game, very well attended. Mafanzu wamekuja, nyinyi kama governing body come here, kuja viwanjani muangalie mpira. How is it possible that a team like Shabana that has really performed this season, kwamba haina hata mchezaji mmoja katika Harambee Stars.
Kwa next season tafadhali jaribu kufuatilia season zote, jaribu kufuatilia game zote kuanzia grassroots mpaka huku juu. Hivyo basi tunakumulika sana. Si kama fans we are not happy when you are not seeing you around here with your team. Kindly FKF chairman bali popote ambapo uko tafadhali.
Mohamed's opening act has centered on listening tours, club forums, youth tournament support, and promises of structural overhaul. The tone has softened, transparency has improved, but concrete reforms are yet to be felt.
Hiyo mchezo ya kupigana, make sure he enhances on the security as he promised. Number 3, on corruption matters in the FKF. Make sure he make sure that amefunga the loopholes zote za corruption katika FKF. But so far so good. We can see the kikosi ya national team inaendelea vizuri. Kocha ameteuliwa ako sawa na kocha alisema tumsupport, tusimpe pressure sana.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba.
But amidst it all, the $1 million question remains. 6 months in, is the foundation being laid? The pace of progress will now define the success of Hussein Mohamed's term. The hard part has just begun. Even as Kenyans continue to wait for the promised rosy chapter on Kenyan football under his leadership. Steve Shitera for Sporty Monday, Nairobi.
Steve Shitera, of course, doing justice to that story, and that anchors our discussion with FKF President Hussein Mohamed. As earlier promised, he is ready to engage us here in our quick fire segment. Bwana Hussein, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good to have you here.
Same here, pleasure.
I think the last time we spoke, you were busy on the campaign trail promising this and that.
Correct.
Now is the time to get the job done.
Absolutely.
6 months down, you were elected on December 17th precisely. 7th, yeah. 6 months and some weeks into the new job. From where you sit, how is it so far? How is your scorecard?
Well, I think sometimes when you are looking for these positions, you appreciate the challenges ahead until you get in there, and then you realize it might be a little bit more than you thought. But having said that, we were ready, and we knew that we had quite a bit of work to do. So the work was cut out for us, and we hit the ground running. Of course, it came with a lot of historic issues, cultural issues, but what we inherited is what shocked us the most. And I think a lot of effort has been now towards cleaning that up and making sure that we bring back the integrity of the institution. And that takes quite a bit of time. All the work, all the effort has been geared towards building the institution, bringing good governance into the institution itself. This needs, of course, concerted effort. It needs the strategic partnerships with the national government, with FIFA, with CAF, with all other development partners, with private sector as well, to bring back trust and integrity into FKF is an uphill task. But we've made quite a number of strides in that regard.
So far, how would you rate your scorecard? Of course, 100 being the highest. Where would you rate yourself?
I think we have a long way to go. I think 6 months to rate myself for an institution that has been almost destroyed completely over 20 years would be quite unfair. I think we require a little bit more time so that we can have a very sort of holistic view of our performance. And right now we are just we are working on just keeping our heads above water, meaning that for the first time you saw in our annual report in the recent AGM, we actually presented the actual position of the federation in terms of its financial situation. This has never happened before. We put out there to the general public exactly what our situation is. Our debt portfolio is over $5 million, almost 600 million shillings. We are working day and night to make sure that we settle these issues as quickly as possible. So in terms of this scorecard, I'm just requesting Kenyans, of course, to not only to give us the time, but also to work with us closely as we try and fix each and every facet of the federation.
Talk of fiscal discipline, and I want to take you to your presser in February. this year when the Transition Ad Hoc Committee gave its report. And rightfully so, you talked of how FKF is plunged in a lot of debt crisis. And you figure you gave back then was 400 million, if I'm not wrong. But then we had the AGM that you're talking about. This figure, according to what was stated at the AGM, had actually gone up to 600 million, which you've just stated. Probably, where has the difference come in between February and now? Because we are having a figure of 600 million.
So basically, if you look at the time we had given the initial indication, it is what the ad hoc committee had come up with. We were still in the initial phases of taking office. Over time, you get other creditors now coming up that we had probably not noticed, or maybe some documents were not available. And then lately, we also got, unfortunately, some disciplinary, the disciplinary committee of FIFA also sanctioned Kenya on the cases of Zukericho in 2020, the match-fixing game. So we were penalized an extra 110,000 Swiss francs.
Has that been paid?
Not yet. We are discussed with FIFA in terms of giving us better terms. Again, remember, this was not our doing. We have got about 3 cases that have gone against us at FIFA. So that has increased again the amount of money that we owe to all the entities, our creditors, including also FIFA. But the good thing is we've had 2 induction sessions with FIFA. I met with Infantino some time back. I've spoken to the Deputy Director of the MAs at FIFA. We had the regional office here last week to do another set of induction on financial governance, and they're quite happy with the progress. So we are discussing the terms of payment, how we will be able to settle those particular debts and arrears. We're still at the audit level, where some we want to ask for complete write-off. But this is a negotiation process, and I'm sure right now, for example, I don't know if you're aware, there was an insolvency case by a company called AFS, which claimed we owed them about $800,000. We've managed to negotiate that to almost half so far in terms of settlement.
Even before you pay that, if I heard you clearly in February, what you talked of, this need to audit these debts to know really, is this valid? Do we need to pay this? How far are you with that auditing process? Because the figures we're mentioning are quite colossal. And if you're to pay all of them, how is FKF going to run its operation? So what's the status reporting as far as auditing the debt is concerned?
So far, we have confirmed a number, and those are the ones that we want to deal with first. There are about 4 or 5 cases that are urgent, what we are calling now the high-risk debt. And those will, we are coming up with a plan to settle those at least within the next 1 year and 1.5 years in terms of the payment plan. We cannot run away from our problems, and I think this is important. We have to face our challenges head-on, and we have to make very tough decisions, and we have to find solutions. And that's why I'm there. That's why my neck is there. That's why we were elected to these positions, to find solutions, not to run away from them. So we have a big problem. The debt portfolio is massive. We are worried about salaries at some point, but we're in leadership to provide solutions, and we will provide solutions. We will get out of this quagmire. I can assure you that.
I don't know, probably, how are you going to pay these debts? Where are you going to get the funds to pay for that? And 2, you've talked of fiscal discipline. Basically, this is what we're talking about. You said at FKF there are employees who are hired unprocedurally. They do not have contracts. Probably it's time for a new era, and probably hire people above board. How are you with that process?
So the process is ongoing. Of course, when we came into office, I was very clear also that I'm not going to be to be malicious, or I'm not going to victimize anybody in this process. As you saw, even the CEO who was there, we stayed with him for a while, and we had a very smooth transition. We have to give everybody an opportunity, and we have to do everything on merit. Sometimes it takes time to also go through these processes. Remember, we have a case from when Nyamwea was the president, when Nick Mwendwa came in, and we had a case of wrongful termination of the previous group at Federation. Today we are faced with a bill of over 30 million shillings that we have to pay because of the court orders that came as a result of that particular case. And we don't want to go through those same challenges, so we have to follow everything, follow the law to the letter. and ensure that we don't repeat the mistakes that have been done in the past. This is very important for us. So where will the money come from? We're already in discussions with FIFA to see how we can access some funding from our operational costs that come from FIFA.
The development fee?
Some of the development fee as well. So we are looking at a structure that would work to mitigate and to help us reduce that debt. We are looking at Government of Kenya, who have been very helpful. Ministry of Sports has been very supportive. You know, like now we don't have an issue with the national coach. In fact, I'm happy that I've not had any situation where the coach has not been paid yet.
And so, now you're taking to my next question.
Yes.
It's good to hear he has been paid all his dues. But the question the public is asking out there, we've wasted quite a lot of money, millions of it, into paying coaches for unwrongful dismissal. You know, the case of Bobby Williamson, Adel Amroche, and many others. We have a new coach in town, Benny McCarthy. The public are asking what are his terms of engagement, for how long is this contract valid, and what are we paying him? And this is rightfully so, because where we are coming from. We've seen coaches being dismissed. They go to court, CAS, Sport Dispute Tribunal, and this courts rule in their favor. Where are we with Benny in as far as his contract is concerned?
I think I made it clear in the last discussion we had, and also in previous interviews, that Benny McCarthy's term is up to 2027, immediately after AFCON. So the contract runs up to then. When it comes to, he's employed like any other employee, and his terms of payment are also personal to him. You know, I cannot discuss your payslip here in front of the general public if you don't wish me to. If we get his consent, we can discuss the terms of his pay. It should not be a big issue. I would rather it came from him, so that he clarifies and it's not from me, because it's a private matter. Your payslip is a private matter, but there's nothing we're hiding. It is not the figures.
What's probably in the exit clause?
It is not the figures that have been thrown around, and it would be important that it comes from him, so that he feels comfortable with that particular agenda or subject.
What's the exit clause? What happens today if you wake up and fail, or your NECU fail? Benny is not serving our interest and he has to go.
So we've agreed within the contract that we have to give each other notice if he wants to leave, and if we want him also to leave. The terms are very clear. We have to give a period of time. I have to again refresh my memory by looking at the contract, but it's a short period, maybe 2-3 months, and just say we want to part ways, and we have a very clear exit plan with the coach.
The national women team, Harambee Starlets, are in Dar es Salaam for the Sekafa, and of course they began quite well yesterday with a solid win against Burundi. But you know what has been going around, or maybe I'll bring it to your attention. There's a lot of speculation, there's a lot of hearsay, there's a lot of rumors regarding the future of head coach Beldin Odemba. Reports are at one point he had been asked to step aside. Maybe you could clarify on this. How true is this? Beldin had been asked to step aside. There are reports, there are forces within the federation who wants her out. Players are not happy. So there's a lot of noise regarding that team. What's happening at Starlets?
So within the Football Federation, in the new restructuring model that we are coming up with at the Secretariat, there's a department called the Football Development Directorate, which is headed by Francis Kimanzi. In my position, I do my level best, of course, never to interfere with the work of the Secretariat. Once we've empowered the team at the Secretariat to do its work, then we let them run with it.
The Secretariat should be led by the CEO?
By the CEO.
Right.
So under the leadership of the General Secretary, who's also the CEO, they are able to come up with long-term solutions for the national teams as well. Of course, with the blessings of the National Executive Committee, together with the President, we come up with now the structure, and we allow for that structure to work. I know we get caught up in social media hype, and we get caught up in fake news and propaganda every so often. But unless it's on our platforms, then it's not official. For me, what I would want to urge Kenyans is to give our national coaches time and also to give them the support so that they can perform. If there's any significant changes within the technical bench of the national team, it will be communicated officially through official channels, and this is important. Not through proxy websites or bloggers and so on. So let's allow the departments within the federation to actually do their job and to put together the solid team that we require for future prosperity.
If I'm listening to you keenly and I'm getting you right, two key issues come out of your statement. Either one, there's a structure you're putting in place which would either affirm the position of Beldin as our coach in the long term, or probably that process could get him out of the job.
But you see, it's not one way, it's a two-way street. There's also the ambitions and the plans of the coach. Remember, you cannot force somebody to be in a position that they don't want to be in, for example, if they want to move to something else. But having said that, it has to be a willing buyer, willing seller situation. You are appointing a coach who also wants to continue working. For now, we have Beldin as the national coach of Harambee Starlets. That situation has not changed, and they're performing very well in the Sakafa Challenge. And I want to just assure Kenyans, whoever the coach of the national team will be for Harambee Starlets or Harambee Stars or the youth teams, the federation's role and mandate is to give them total support, make sure that the environment they have enables them to perform. We have a lot of challenges across the country in terms of infrastructure development. We have a lot of challenges around capacity building for those coaches. We have challenges around safety and security of our fans that we must also address. So when we focus too much also in one particular area or development of football and forget the others, then the game suffers. So for me, I want to really focus.
To get out of the job?
Not that I'm aware of. From where I sit, not that I'm aware of. I spoke to her before she left. We spoke about, which is also very rare, because I make it a point not to get involved too much with the technical matters.
Still on that, there are reports that several players have actually snubbed the call-ups. They are uneasy with the situation in the team. These are big name players who ordinarily would command starting roles. I'm talking of Corazon Aquino here, a big name. I'm talking of Bundi. These have been star players. If you look at the squad right now in Dar es Salaam, they are not anywhere near that camp. And there are reports probably they are uneasy with the situation.
The process at the federation is that we have a tournament, we have the call-ups, the team is prepared, the team travels and goes for the games. After they come back, we have now instituted a post-mortem process where we do an analysis of that entire competition, right from call-ups, camp, call-up, travel, participation, and coming back to the country. This process is critical. So during this process, the coach has an opportunity to give feedback to the technical department on what transpired, and we can ask questions as an administration. From that particular report, then we are able to determine what went wrong and find solutions moving forward. We have done this for the under-20. We are doing this for the Harambee Stars when they came back from Morocco, and we are going to do it also for the Starlets when they come. So when Beldin comes back with her team and the technical bench, they will have the opportunity to present exactly what happened, and this will give us insights and answers to those questions you're asking.
Have those players been paid their allowances to conclusion? I'm talking of the matches against Ivory Coast and all that.
So we have paid all the other allowances except that one.
Except the Ivory Coast.
The Ivory Coast one. As you know very well, that allowances are paid by government, and we have in discussions, it's in the final stages. So we had a little bit of a mishap with the paperwork. Even the Morocco trip was paid. There's only one, there was a slight challenge in terms of administrative paperwork that needed to be sorted out, but that is already done. It's in the final stages of approval, and within, I think, by next week, this week rather, we should see those payments settled. It's the only one that has remained. But remember this, how many trips have we had? For the first time, the national teams have played in all friendly windows. This has never happened before, even for the women team. Actually, you had the discussion there. Some of my panelists believe probably the quality of the friendly is not probably doing us good, probably playing Chad, a team ranked way, way below us. Maybe it served them good to draw with us, get a point and rise up the FIFA rankings. We have to give our team confidence, but not only that. We need to continue. Football, you have to. It's a continuous process. It's very progressive only when you participate. When we don't attend, it's a problem. If we attend and we don't do too well, also it's also a problem. I know it's football, but we have, for us to make significant gains over time, we need to participate. We need to be there. We need to be present. We need to be consistent. We also need to build momentum. How do you build momentum? It's to start the way we have started. Once again, I want to remind everybody, look at what we inherited. Look at where we are going. In fact, for me, if you ask me, my dream team is now the under 15. Because that is what will be our legacy by the time we are exiting these positions. What kind of Harambee Stars will I leave under my team? What kind of Harambee Stars will we leave when we are exiting office in terms of our participation at the international level? So we have to develop football holistically. And speaking of that, the number one priority today for us is how do we then build infrastructure and together with partners. FKF cannot do it on its own. Yes. Today, I don't know if you know about Babadogo, but in Ruaraka. Babadogo has got quite a number of teams, including Babadogo United. They are at the brink of losing the only facility that they have in that region. Alleged land grab. Because of the alleged land grab. If we continue losing this facility, and why is this very important? It's important because this is the bedrock, this is the foundation. If Babadogo today or Ruaraka has no facility to play football, how are we going to develop football at the grassroots? It is the only football pitch for that entire region, that area of Ruaraka, and it's gone, or it's about to go. So we have to protect also community spaces. We have to protect community grounds and ensure that teams like Babadogo and the teams in Kasarani or that area, Ruaraka, then don't lose sort of the will to want to continue playing football. But these are the critical things that we must also look at as we develop our football. So for the first time, by the way, we had training of coaches and referees in marginalized areas where it has never happened. You have had Turkana, we've had Marsabit, we've had Wajir. In the history of Kenyan football, we've never had those activities taking place in those parts of the country, which is a massive, massive, massive thing for us. A lot of ground to cover, but let me take you to another key issue. And this revolves around the CAF club licensing rules. You are aware of that. It has been with us here for quite some time, but we are not doing very well with this. You will agree with me. Where are we at? We've just had a new champions police who ideally should represent the flag, the country in the CAF Champions League next year. Are they going to participate? Are we compliant? We have to chew gum and scale the stairs at the same time. There's no choice. We have to ensure that we are compliant. We have to push and make sure that we up our game, and that the purpose of the club licensing process is to push clubs and to push the country to be at par with other federations and other clubs around the world. Of course, for many years, we have not invested in our football in terms of commercialization of the sport. This will force us to actually now push the teams and push the federation itself into those same standards as our neighbors and developed countries. It's not going to be easy, I'm not going to lie. We've got our own internal challenges, and this goes back again to the root foundation of where our challenges are, from infrastructure to training to capacity building to commercialization of the sport to all those governance issues. But now, as we stand, this has been there for long, the challenges are there. But for now, can you assure the public that police will be in the CAF Champions League next time? The federation will do everything in its power to ensure that the Police FC plays at the continental level.
Equally again, on the same, we've seen clubs go up the ladder, top tier there in the Kenyan Premier League, but they can't honor matches. And these are some of the things CAF club licensing rules are sought to attain. We have financial safeguards, we have a streamlined and professional secretariat, we have clubs with the junior sides within their ranks and even women teams. But what we saw was a mad dash just to tick the boxes. Gor Mahia going there and claiming this team, the other team going there and all that. But if you look at it really, we don't really tick these boxes. What are you doing so that we don't have a scenario where players are staging go slow? Our allowances have not been paid. We can't afford air ticket or bus ticket to Mombasa.
Let's ask ourselves the fundamental question on why football has not been able to progress over the years, because this actually speaks to that. The lack of investment, because you need resources, so you need money. You need resources to be able to achieve what you've asked for. But how do you get the resources? How do we raise the money? The product has to attract interest. Football has to attract investors. Football has to attract the money that is required to get us to that level.
That's corporate goodwill, yes.
So you need private sector. You need facilities that can support commercialization of football.
Which we lack.
So we have to build from there. Then you need to train everybody within the ecosystem of football to be able to know exactly what to do in their space. In the absence of this, clubs will continuously struggle. Right now, as we speak, there's a process of changing or amending the Sports Act that is taking place and the sports regulations. We need to allow private investors to own football clubs. We need to figure out how community clubs can raise enough resources to sustain themselves throughout the season. And that starts with infrastructure, and that's why you will see all my posts, everything that I talk about, I say infrastructure is the answer. Without the right infrastructure at the grassroots, at the county level and at the national level, we will not succeed. And that's why I'm so happy. And you can see the government putting in a lot of work in finishing up our stadiums across the country. So this is very encouraging, and we're very grateful for that. But we need it for us to be able to commercialize football, for us to be able to make it successful. Without that, it becomes a big challenge.
And time is not on our side, Hussein, but from where you sit, are we hosting Chan?
We are hosting Chan. We are ready for Chan. We have to work extra hard, of course. Remember, Swila, when was the last time we hosted a big event like this, a continental event? This was 1987, during the All Africa Games.
Actually, and purposefully Kasarani was built for that.
Exactly. So it's a while since we did this, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it well. It's a launch pad for AFCON, and we have to get it right. So this is critical for Kenya. Chan is very important for us. As we prepare for it, we also have to prepare the national team. I heard you and your panel and your colleagues talking about it. We will give the national team all the support we can get. I've gotten the assurances from the Ministry of Sports, from the PS, from the CS. We've had discussions from the national government. They are willing to put everything behind the national team. I'm willing to put everything behind the national team. We will prepare that team adequately. That is my promise to you. The LOC of Chan is ready to move, and we are going to host one of the best events. As we wind up in 10 seconds, what do you consider to be your biggest achievement since you took over office? Well, I think for us is the survival part. We have survived till now. Many people never anticipated that the federation would be alive today because of the insolvency cases we are battling. But more than that, for the first time, Swila, we've been able to honor all our fixtures. We've been able to get the federation out of the hole to a certain degree in terms of growth. You've seen that the fans are back in the stadiums. When we had the Kenya versus Gabon game, we had the stadium actually was spilling over. It was packed to the rafters. Look at the Gor FC derbies, how they've been managed. Look at the turnout across the country. Because fans love football. Fans love football. but not like this. I mean, now they have got the hope and the spirit of football is back. We have got a new national coach who so far has not had any issues. So there's a lot we can go down the list.
Listening to you, and of course even the viewer watching now.
And by the way, Sula, before I forget, the women's team, for the first time we had sponsorship for the WPL teams with the Bet Power for the locker room bonus award program. We have had for the first time in Kwale, there's a beach league that is going, which has never happened, with sponsored by Kentest. So these are new things that the federation is very proud of, that has never happened before.
Yes or no, the viewer watching probably sees a Hussein painting a lot of difficulty in the federation, a lot of debt, systems not working, lack of infrastructure, probably right now, 6 months down the line. Do you probably look and say, I shouldn't have probably taken this job? Do you have regrets for taking?
Absolutely no regrets. I mean, I love the challenge. I'm up to that challenge. I'm very excited about this position. I'm very excited about what we can do for this country. And for me, whatever I promised, I want to reiterate again. I have a whole list I look at every single day. I have to build the technical center for the national for FKF. Once we get the title deed for that Machakos land, once it's out, we are going to break ground this year. And we are going to do all these things that I promised we are going to do. The governance structures at FKF will be done within this year. We will have a very solid team at the federation. I'm very confident we will achieve what we set out to achieve. So I'm very excited. It's difficult, I know. It's very challenging. I know the teams are struggling, especially at NSL, at KPL. It's a massive, massive challenge, but we will overcome. And that's why we are there.
3.5 years from now, when probably you will have served your full term, you would choose probably to defend your seat or walk away. What should the Kenyans expect to see by the time your tenure is coming to an end?
By that time, we will have the technical center up and running with at least 2 pitches with with the administration block. I'm looking forward to, once the technical center is done, I want to even push for maybe 2. We want to develop some infrastructure launch the infrastructure master plan by the end of next month, to give a roadmap on how the kind of facilities we want across the country. And by that time, I know we will, God willing, we say inshallah, God willing, we will have sponsors for the Kenya Premier League, which we are almost getting there. We will have sponsors for NSL, for WPL, and we will have a self-sustaining federation that will be hopefully debt-free.
We have to end it there, but your deputy, Big Mark, is bereaved.
Yes, I want to take this opportunity to pass my heartfelt condolences. I've been with him the last 2 days since it happened, and on behalf of the federation and behalf of all Kenyans, is to wish the Wanyamas, the family, for our heartfelt condolences on the loss of their matriarch. I've heard very many good things about Mama. And many Kenyans have gone through her hands in terms of mentorship and of course also education. And we've lost a great Kenyan, and we are with my Vice President Mariga every day. And we stand with him. We will support him during this difficult period. The other group of people I want also to show my solidarity or stand with is the community of Babadogo, as they agitate and fight for their community grounds. And I'm hoping that we will find a solution very soon in terms of securing that facility and making sure that we build that down the same way we did for Dandora, the same way I did for Woodley, the same way we are doing for BP grounds in Dagoretti. We need to secure facilities across the country for our youth. We can't allow our youth to lose interest in playing football.
Absolutely. We can go on and on and on. This conversation can even take 2 hours, but that's Hussein Mohamed, the FKF president, of course, speaking to us here on our quickfire segment on Sporty Monday. And of course, thank you for making time to talk to us. And of course, we hope to do this again. And of course, we'll be on our case and we'll keep you to account on every promise you've made here.
I look forward to it anytime.
Absolutely. That is Hussein Mohamed, the FKF chief, speaking to us. And of course, this is Sporty Monday. And of course, we also join Hussein Mohamed and everyone else in sending our condolences to the Wanyama family following the loss of their matriarch. Sporty Monday takes a brief commercial break, but don't go away. When we return, we talk about police as well as the Lions of Teranga mauling the Lions of England 3-1. Stay tuned. See you shortly.